Talking about the government financing options, the latest being the privatization of some 11 state corporations. Of course, there has been an order by the High Court stopping application of part of that law, meaning that the privatization may not continue at the moment. And Fred, we were talking about the justification and also looking at the list of those institutions that are earmarked for privatization. I don't know what your thoughts are on what Kenyans need to be aware of, and is this a purely government of Kenya idea?
Thank you, Sam. I think first of all, let's appreciate that this is an issue before a court of competent jurisdiction currently, and the petitioner ODM has gotten conservative orders stopping that process from going on. So without even going into the merits and demerits of the case, but there are certain fundamental facts that we have to agree. The process of privatization is to transfer assets. Now, if you look at right from the formulation of the privatization program all the way to the completion of the process, it requires the people to participate. Right from the Act, if you check Section 19, as you go 20, 21, all the way, the people are required to participate because of our principles of governance and national values. Now, the main issue here is the CS National Treasury and Economic Planning has identified entities. To me, some of those entities are sovereign assets. And therefore, these entities are sovereign assets.
All of them?
Some of them. Mm-hmm. So if you look at them, in terms of privatization, then the threshold of public participation must be very high. And that's why you hear the petitioner arguing, the other, that the nature of public participation that was involved must be of a higher threshold akin to a referendum. But the main concern is when the CS National Treasury provided the program for privatization, the requirement is that once that program is approved by the cabinet, then it shall be ratified by Parliament. So Dr. Makalia has given you the type of parliament we have and what happens. Majority have their way, minority have their say. And we have seen what happens in that parliament. Was the ratification above board by members of parliament? That's a question that is being raised. Number two, the level of participation of the people. Given that some of these assets that are going to be privatized or proposed for privatization are considered sovereign, KICC, KLB, Kenya Seed, they are actually part of the sovereign wealth of this country. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I don't think, in my view, privatization is bad. But the process of privatization must meet certain constitutional threshold so that it is above board. And therein, there is the participation of the people that has been raised. Thirdly, the reason why the Kenya Kwanza government is now going for this privatization is more of what they call economic perspective to bridge the gap. But in the Constitution of Kenya, does that come above the issues of national governance and public participation, for example? So the court will be trying to look at, is the economic perspective superior to the national values and principles of governance in doing anything as pertaining to the public? Those are questions that the public will be hearing and would want to be answered. And lastly, Sam, I also think that Kenyans have not been told exactly why. Because Kenyans just know that we are selling KICC. KICC was gazetted as a national, whatever. It is now being sold. We are selling Kenya Seed. We are selling Kenya little below. They are Kenya. So somebody would argue, a layman, why are we selling Kenya? Why are we selling Kenya? That's the layman's argument. So if you look at these, there are actually serious issues of concern to the people. And therefore, I am happy that a petition has gone to court to seek some relief, and some of the relief is look at the what is economic perspective subordinate to national values? Was the public involved? What is the threshold? And so on and so forth. So let's allow the court also to give us the interpretation and a verdict on this issue. But in the meantime, there's an order stopping it. I strongly believe that when privatization is done in a process that is justifiable, right from the program that has been tabled, approved by cabinet, tabled in parliament, and all the way to give a justification that when you do this process, then Kenyans will benefit, not leaders, not individuals, not foreigners. Then Kenyans can agree that let's go privatization way because it is something that has been seen to be working elsewhere.